Hello, podcast family. Pod family? Podily? I'm going to make something clever up. Anyway, hi, you guys. I have a total, I want to say gem of a human being, but that's not the right word. It's more like her energy is very like Zen. If you imagine like putting your feet on the earth and like grounding into the earth, like this is Alexa's energy. It's the same thing. So if you like put your feet on Alexa, it would probably feel very grounding, but like don't do that without her permission because consent matters. So my friend Alexa is a mindset coach for burned out and overwhelmed corporate workers, which listen, if you work in corporate, it's you. Like if you don't think it's you, it's you. It's you 100%. And she is just like killing the game, guys. So we are going to jam on all things overcoming overwhelm and burnout and anxiety and just misalignment, which is, y'all know, one of my favorite topics to talk about. I could talk about it all day long, which I literally do on the podcast, and it's great AF. So Alexa Martin, hello, boo.
Hello. I love that introduction. I'm just imagining like all these corporate workers like putting their feet on me right now, just really grounding themselves. I feel like I need this like workshop around.
That's a premium service.
Yeah. That's my high ticket offer.
High ticket, $1,000 per session to put your feet on me.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Oh, I am so happy to be here. Thank you for that introduction. So
Dude, lovely. Thank you for being here. I'm so stoked for people to like learn about you and what you do. So, you know, some of our people are kind of crunchy granola. Some are just starting to be crunchy. Yeah. What the heck is a mindset coach? What you do?
That is a great question. So like you said, I help people who are overwhelmed and anxious, like really overcome that and learn to just create a life that they love every day. Like not just on Saturdays and Sundays, but like actually Monday mornings, the alarm goes off and we're excited about it. So yeah, and I mean, we do all different things. Like it really starts with first developing awareness, because so many of us are just on this like autopilot, and we got to snap out of that and become aware and conscious to like what we're even doing. And then, you know, we get to kind of look at like limiting beliefs and patterns that have been holding us back. And then we get to kind of like rebuild our spaceships per se, in terms of like who we actually want to be moving forward. My voice just cracked.
You're just so excited.
I know, I am.
So I came across a term that I had never heard before. The Sunday Scaries. What is that? Like, I know what it is, but I don't know if I'd never heard it. I was like, maybe our listeners have never heard it. What is the Sunday Scaries?
I mean, the Sunday Scaries is really just like being scared for Monday morning. It's like, oh God, reality's hitting. I'm terrified of my life. It's coming like with a truck that's about to hit me.
That makes me so sad.
So sad. So sad. There are like things that people say that make me so sad sometimes. I was talking to someone yesterday and she was telling me about how at work, like everyone's just always complaining. And she's like, does anyone actually like what they do? And I was like, oh man, like that is so sad. It doesn't have to be that way. It really doesn't.
Yeah. I had a client once tell me, they said, everyone hates their job. That's just life. Everyone hates their job. And I said, I don't. I love my job. I don't hate my job. And they were like, man, thank.
And they're just like, oh.
Right. But it's easy. I think it's so easy for people too. And this may be something you come across. It's so easy for people to say, well, you're the outlier. Mm-hmm. Well, everyone else hates their job. You're just lucky. And it's like, yes, I am. And also, I purposely built my life so that I worked lots of jobs that I hated for years, for a long time, to be able to then have a job that I love, to work in a setting that I love, to have the hours that I love. But like, it's totally possible to not only not hate your job, but actually like your job. And I like, it makes me so sad when people are like, well, that's for other people. That's not for me. And I'm just like, you are bypassing bullshit right now. Like you're lying and just saying that so that you don't have to do any work.
Yeah. I mean, it's like, we've like normalized things that really don't like, shouldn't be, the standard. And we call it like adulting. It's like suffering equals adulting.
Oh my God.
And there's just like this pervasive victim culture that we think that we can't do anything about our circumstances, and we just blame everything on everything but ourselves. But like the reality is we have so much power within ourselves to actually just create lives that we love and to be happy, right? Like happiness is a choice.
Can I get an amen?
Yeah. Amen.
Yes. Can I get it? Amen. If like we were in like a mega church right now, everyone would be like, amen.
Yeah. Everyone would be like, amen. Yes.
Amen. Preach, girl. Yes. Now, I always want to be very careful of like, you can do anything you want and manifest your dreams, because yes, within a limit, within like, you're limitless, you're not, right? Because systemic barriers exist, because privilege exists. Like, so for some people, it quite literally is easier than others. If you have a higher education, if you have access to money, if you have someone who can support you while you figure out what you want to do for work, like obviously it's easier for some people and much harder for others. But even within that, there is a choice that people can make. And I have met lots of people, and here's the other side of the coin. I know lots of people who didn't really love their jobs, but they just took it as a job. They went to work, they did their job, they were happy with what the job gave them, even if they didn't love the job, and they built a life they loved outside of their job. And I think, now that I come to think of it, everyone I know who does that is an immigrant. And it's not like an American thing. I think it's a very American thing to be like, you are your job. And like, if you're like us and you're lucky, like, yeah, like I pretty much am my job. I love my job. But like, if you don't love your job and you take that as your identity, then you hate everything, then everything is bad. But I think, like, I really know people who are like, well, I don't really love my job, but it's steady. I like the hours. It's a paycheck. I'm happy with that. And I build a life I love outside of it. And that's totally okay too. Like, not everybody's going to love their job, but can you be happy with it? I think is a very, very different choice. And is that something that you run into?
Absolutely. And right, like exactly what you're saying, your job doesn't have to be your life. It can just be a job that,
don't let it be
income. Like,
right.
And the thing is, I think it really comes down to how much energy you're giving to it, and like how you're setting internal boundaries towards how you're letting your job affect you. Because because we can't control the people around us, and oftentimes we can't control our work. And just because everyone around you is complaining, or you don't love the work you're doing, like you can kind of set this like invisible wall that's like, I hear you, but it's not internalizing to me. Like, I'm not going to let anything take my peace. Like, I am the protector of my peace. I'm the protector of my happiness. I get my paycheck, I go home, and I live my happy life.
Can I get another fucking amen? Like,
amen.
Yes, God, I could just like, I don't want to scream because the podcast people will be like, Amanda. But like, imagine me internally screaming. Yes. And that's just boundaries, right? Even if someone gives something to you, it doesn't mean you have to take it. So if someone is giving you negativity and complaining and I hate my fucking life, like, bitch, you're just miserable. And also go away, like get away from me. So I actually have a rule in my life that like, I don't complain. Do I vent sometimes? Yes. They're slightly different. I don't complain, and I don't have friends who complain. Like, literally, if you look at my friend group, none of them are complainers, because that's helplessness. You're not helpless. Change something or accept it, or bide your time until you can change it. And I think I run into that a lot. So I work with a lot of people who are like, well, I can't leave yet. I can't do XYZ yet. I can't do X yet. So I'm just stuck. And I'm like, no, like, you're not stuck. You can bide your time. You can plan for it. You can redo your resume, right? If we're talking specifically about jobs, You can redo your resume. You can put feelers out there. You can save money, even if it's $100 a week, even if it's $20 a week, you can save something. You can pick up a part-time job, like so that you have extra cash coming in. And I think people forget about that option that, like, yeah, even though you're quote unquote in the same place, if you're working to get out of it, you're still working to get out of it. Like, you're biding time until you can until you can transition. But if you just complain, that's not problem solving. Like, David's going to hate this, but I had a conversation with David the other day, the boyfriend, Bay, we love him. But he just came and he was like complaining about stuff in the house. And I was like, bro, what do you want me to do? And he was like, well, I want you to take care of it. And I was like, no, like, offer me solutions. He like specifically dislikes the animals on the furniture, right? And he's like, well, I don't want them on the furniture anymore. And I'm like, that's never going to happen. But I was like, offer me a different solution. And he got stuck. And I was like, oh, self. Okay. Like, he doesn't know how to offer solutions. Okay. Totally legit. Most people really don't. And is that something that you teach? Like, you teach people to think in problem solving, to think in like, yeah, this is bad. But if all you know is to complain about it, let's get you in the space where you can solutionize. Shakespeare would be proud. We're making up words. Solutionize it, where you just throw shit at me and let's see what works.
So something that I teach people is to kind of go through this cycle of thought, action, reflection, thought, action, reflection.
Legit.
And so many people are stuck in thought, which is like complaining. They're just complaining. It's like, cool, like let's do something about it. Let's take some action. Like, do something, take action.
Yeah.
And then sometimes people get stuck in like endless doing, and they're doing and they're doing and they're spinning their wheels, and it's like, okay, cool, we need to step back and reflect on like what's working and what's not working. And if we're too busy stepping back and reflecting, like, we need to start thinking forward. And then you move through this nice little cycle. But if you're feeling stuck and you're constantly complaining about something, like, think about where you may be stuck in that cycle and what step you need to move towards in order to actually make change and move forward.
Okay, that just literally blew my mind. Like, I don't know why, but I was just like, duh. Like, I've never thought about it. I teach this for a living, and I don't know why. Like, I'm not good at systemizing things. Duh. Like, sorry, everyone. I just got my mind blown. I was like, what? You're so right. Yeah. So I call it running an experiment. But it's the exact same process. I'm like, I don't know if it'll work. Try it. If it sucks, don't do it anymore. If it works, keep doing it till it doesn't work anymore. Mm-hmm. But you're so right. I think so many people it's like analysis paralysis, right? What will work? It has to be perfect. I don't know. Blah, blah. Move your body. Move your body. Do something. How do you get people to that space?
Well, I think I really help people become less afraid of like bad, and I put in quotes, bad things. It's like, we're so scared to take action because we're so scared of failure, or we're scared of rejection, or we're scared of having to face something that feels a little uncomfortable. But when we can begin to open ourselves up to discomfort and recognize that like everything is either in alignment with ourselves, or it's an opportunity to learn about what is and is not in alignment with ourselves, and course correct. And so when you can just like not be afraid of anything, it becomes a lot easier to take action, because it's like, I don't need to make the right decision. Mm-hmm. I'm just always learning. And if this doesn't work, then it's like, cool, now we try the next thing.
Yeah, that's so empowering. And I'm going to challenge that narrative a little, because I don't believe that people aren't afraid. I think they just don't let the fear stop them. And I say all the time, like, bravery is a choice. Bravery is being scared and doing it anyway. Like, there's like a John Wayne quote about that. It's like being scared and saddling up anyway, or something. But it's so much feedback. Like, when I think of alignment, how do you teach someone to know if something is in alignment or not? Because something that I find, and I wonder if you see this too, when people are out of alignment for so long, sorry, my cat is at my feet and he just decided to claw them. What are you doing? Jesus, cat. Sorry. When people are out of alignment for a long time, because they've ignored their cues from their body for so long, like they really don't know how to tell if something is very, very wrong for them or very right for them. So how do you teach that?
Well, the first thing that I do is have them write down like why they would be doing something. And when you look at those whys, they're going to be either things like I should be, if I don't do this, I may never have this opportunity again. I'm, either like fear, should, guilt, scared based, or they're like, I really want to do this. Like, this is an exciting thing I want to do. And those are the things that are in alignment, but might be a little bit scary. So first looking at just like the why behind the decision. And then I also love people to ask themselves the question, like, what would be a force when I'm making a decision between two things? Like, what would feel like a force? Like, I work with people who have eating disorders, for example. And when they go down to like sit and like have a meal, they want to know, like, I have them ask themselves, like, what would be a force? Am I forcing myself to eat like or not eat something right now because I'm scared or whatever it may be? Like, what feels expansive and like what's a force? What makes me feel small? What am I like making myself do?
Can you repeat that? Because that is really powerful.
You want to think about like what's expansive versus what am I forcing myself to do and what makes me feel small.
Mind-blowing. It's so good. And that's such a visceral thing because I can literally see someone shrinking, and shoulds, I'll tell people right now, shoulds always small, always a shrink, always protective, always fear-based. Things that for me, when I think of it, it's like if I want to vomit from like, oh, I'd rather die. That's not for me. I will never in my life work in a cubicle. Why? I would rather eat the cubicle. I'd rather eat it, literally. That is not for me. But a should, right? Because so this is kind of an interesting thing. I'm sure when you were in corporate, you had this all the time. Like it's done a certain way and you work 80 hours a week and you go out for doing, and it's like all this bullshit. And I kind of want to talk about some of the shoulds in that culture. But for me as a therapist, it's like, you should work in an office. You should just do all this crap, right? You should dress professionally. And I'll tell you, like 90% of the time I see clients in leggings and a t-shirt under a tree in my yard. Like 99% of the time we're under a tree in a field with horses in my yard. And people love it. People love it. It's so authentic. And they're just like, God, I'm so glad you're not in an office. And I'm like, where did we even get these shoulds? People don't even like it.
No, people love authenticity. Everyone's done with this like inauthentic, like
should culture.
Should, like, we're done with it.
Yeah,
we're gross. Moving on.
We're moving on.
Yeah, it's like, thank you, next.
So talk to me about some of the shoulds that you see in like corporate culture.
There is so much people pleasing and should in corporate culture, like,
which is gross, which is life killing. Let's just be honest about that. If you are a people pleaser, please, for the love of God, go back and listen to my people pleasing episode because it's going to save your fucking life. Like, you give up your life when you're a people pleaser because it doesn't belong to you. It belongs to everybody else's whims. Like, they don't even give a shit. They just want something from you. And it's like, you give up your whole life for that. That breaks my heart almost more than anything.
Yeah.
Is people pleasing.
And it doesn't even make the people who you're like people pleasing for, it doesn't even make them actually feel good.
No.
So it's just kind of this perpetuating cycle of everyone doing things they don't actually want to be doing and nobody feeling good about it.
Right. And then you're pissed off and resentful and you hate everyone in your life. And it's like, I'm exhausted. Well, okay, no shit. Stop doing those things. So a lot of people pleasing.
A lot of people pleasing. Things just like answering pings like right away. We got to answer our messages right away. We got to be on our email right when we wake up in the morning. We got to just It's like constantly being on call. Like I need to just be at the beckon of the people that I'm working for. A lot of shoulds with that. Shoulds with, I mean, I think we're overcoming, which I'm so happy about, appearance in terms of dress and like I have pink hair and
right. Or if you're African American and they literally ban natural hair on women.
Yeah.
Like, we could get into a whole conversation about how locks are seen as unprofessional, how natural hair is seen as unprofessional. Like, who gives a shit? Also, it's their natural hair, which is gross and racism.
Yeah.
But yeah, who cares? Who cares if you dye your hair? Who cares? I literally, when I got this, I have a big tattoo on my arm. People can't see if they're not watching the video, but like I have a big tattoo on my arm. And when I got it, it was 2014 or 13 before I moved here. And my mom said, "That's so unprofessional." And I was like, well, the ink didn't change my noggin. Like, I can still do my job. It was crazy.
Yeah, what we look like on the outside has absolutely nothing to do with who we are.
I mean, listen, if you come in with like swastika tattoos, though,
yes.
Fuck no. I'm not about that life. Like, there is a line and it's swastika tattoos. But outside of those, yeah, like, so you're seeing that change a little bit. And I think with people working from home, like with COVID kind of mandating that shift, people can be like, honestly, who cares if you're in your pajamas working?
I agree.
It doesn't affect my ability to do my job if I don't want to wear pants. Like, it doesn't. Most of the time I don't work with pants on because I don't even like pants. Lady Gaga had it right. No pants. Yeah. So like corporate, so dress culture, so being on 24/7.
On 24/7, not showing, now they're coming to me.
Okay,
not showing your emotions, like not being vulnerable. It's just this, like, we put up a front for work and not being honest with each other. I don't know, like when we decided that honesty was unkind and that we should just be like this, like super fake loving to each other's faces, and then behind our backs be like talking about people. There's such a gossip culture in corporate.
It's because people are cowards.
Yeah, so not being honest with each other. Like, I shouldn't tell my boss like what I'm actually thinking. I shouldn't set boundaries for myself. Like all these things just because we are scared and we want everyone to like us.
People pleasing. Yeah. And how many, so like I've never worked corporate, but when I interviewed Tori a few weeks ago, she was saying like the hours people work are like, by the way, Tori Penta, she was lovely. Go back and listen to that episode too. But the hours people work are like dumb, like insane.
People work crazy hours.
Why?
Crazy hours.
So gross to me. And so how does this affect them when people are coming to you? Like, what are they exhibiting? So if someone's like, oh, I work corporate, this may be me. Or, hey, I work a demanding job, this may be me. What are some of the like signs that you're seeing when people come to you?
Very stressed out, anxious. I had a woman who literally was like, I am paralyzed in my car because I am in my car paralyzed, crying every day because I hate my life that much. I know, it's so sad. It's so sad. Also doing things like slamming doors, like snapping at friends and family because you're just at such an emotional capacity, binge drinking on the weekends, living for the happy hour drink, counting down the minutes for the workday to be over. Yeah. All of these are very common things that I see.
So when they go through working with you, what are some of the things you see shift?
The biggest shifts are learning to like take time for yourself, like learning to love yourself, learning to get in touch with your authentic self, learning how to say no to people and stick up for yourself and set boundaries and have difficult conversations and just like live your life instead of being on this treadmill that everyone else is on.
Yeah. Yeah. I have a lot of people come and they say, I don't know who I am. I'm like, well, you don't do anything that's actually authentic to you. So that makes perfect sense.
Exactly.
I'll tell you a sneaky one, and I don't know if you see this too. By the time people get to the end of working with me, and our layers are a little bit different, right? So, but by the time people get to the end of working with me, they laugh. They never laugh when they first come to see me. I had a client, I would say one of my favorites, but I'm probably not allowed to say that, but enjoyed them. They hadn't laughed, genuinely laughed in over a decade.
Wow.
10 fucking years. Now, this is not, corporate. This was deep trauma, but 10 years they faked, and they could fake it. They could pretend, and people thought they were okay and normal and laughing, but 10, can you imagine not laughing for 10 years? 10 years. When they said that to me, I was just like my heart came out of my body and fell on the floor. And I was just like, oh, that's not okay.
No.
Like, it's not okay. You shouldn't hate 5 days. Well, so transitioning back to corporate, like, you shouldn't hate 5 days out of 7 for 40 years. Oh my God, take a pay cut, get another job. Like, Jesus Christ. Do you have people transition jobs? Is that something that you see?
Yeah, I don't do it like immediately when I work with people, because there can be a lot of, there's a lot of layers to it, and it might not be the job. Like, it might be some internal things they're working through. So that's not the first solution. And
no, so I don't assume that you offer it as a solution, but I'm wondering if people make that decision as they go.
They do.
Okay.
Because they become more confident in themselves. They become more confident in what they actually want. And they kind of just like learn to stand in their worthiness. And when you stand in your worthiness, you just begin to attract different things into your life, and just you start saying no to what doesn't serve you, and just believe you're worthy and deserving of what does serve you. And so naturally, if you're in a job that's just clearly making you feel small, like, you're not going to force yourself to stay there anymore, because you're like, I'm worth more than that.
Mm-hmm. Oh, that's so good. I want people to rewind what you just said, because it's such a subtle shift. It's such a subtle shift. And I think a lot of people get in the mindset, and again, I think this is a very cultural thing, where they say, well, I'm not a quitter. I don't want to quit. I can tough it out. I can take it. And I'm just like, just because you can take it doesn't mean that you have to. Also, what is not quitting getting you? You're crying in your car every single day. Like, is it worth it to not be a quitter? No, like, it's not. Be a quitter. Be a quitter, please. Please be a quitter. Quit things that don't serve you. But you're so right. That is a worthiness thing. If people don't believe they can handle it, if people don't believe they can survive it, if they don't believe they're worth more, they really do accept really bad treatment. Like, it's not good.
Yeah. I mean, I think it really comes down to worthiness and like believing that we are worth something more. And
I love, you mentioned this earlier, but it's the thought, action, reflection, right? It's not a coincidence that like people get there feeling worthy at the end of your time together, because it is a direct product of action. No one feels worthy until they do things like setting boundaries, like self-care, like all the other things that you teach, until they do those things. Because worthiness, confidence, self-love, whatever, all of those things are a product of taking action. And what happens facts, right? What happens when you don't treat yourself well, when you don't set boundaries, what you do is you subconsciously, and well, I guess consciously, because you choose not to take an action, you tell yourself that you don't matter. You're not worth taking care of. You're not worth standing up for. You're not worth chasing a better life. But when you start shifting that, when you say, you know what, actually, I don't have to deal with this. I don't have the time. I don't have the energy. I'm so sorry. You protect you. And when you protect you, you get stronger. And it's like, if people hear nothing, I hope they get that. Like you feeling worthy, you feeling confident, you feeling like you deserve better is directly linked to actions that you take, which is why hiring a coach can be so valuable. So how did you even like get here?
So in my own healing journey, I was introduced to mindset. So I had a lot of anxiety. I had an eating disorder growing up, and I got introduced to mindset through a group coaching program. And it completely it was like all the light bulbs went off and just everything clicked in life. Like I read this one mindset book, and it was just like, I was like, whoa.
What was it?
Chasing Excellence. I need to be sponsored by this book.
Amazon Associates. Do it.
So I read this book, and it was just like, for the first time in my life, like it was just like, I was like, oh shit. Like, oh wow, there's a different way of life out there. And then I just started to make different choices, started working out, I started eating differently. I hired coaches, and just everything changed. And I've always loved teaching. I used to teach math a lot, and I kind of just paired, my love for teaching and coaching with my love for mindset, and just made this beautiful little mindset coaching thing.
I love it for you. I love it.
It's been a fun journey.
It's really like, who did I say this to the other day? I was like, the thing I enjoy most in my life is watching people chase their dreams. Like I could literally watch that on a TV all day, where I'm just like, chase your fucking dreams. Like I could it's my favorite thing.
I literally audibly scream oftentimes when I open my Slack where the women in the program are writing things. When I look at their goals or the wins they've had for the week, I audibly scream. I'm like, yes. It makes me so happy. I'm like, let's get it.
I throw pens at my clients because I always have my notebook, and I'm just like, fuck you. You're so fucking great. And they're just like, what? And I'm like, you've earned it. You've earned to be throwing things at you. You're welcome. It's the best though. Like, it's just the best. So how do people find you? If they're like, Alexa's so dope, I want to put my feet on her, metaphorically. Like I want to symbolically put my feet on her and ground myself in her energy. How do people find you?
On Instagram at Alexa Kmart. Every Sunday we do like a foot live thing. Join us. I'm kidding. We don't go live on Sundays. Nothing to do with that. But I'll think about it at Alexa Kmart on Instagram. And my website is alexakmartin.com. And those are the best ways to find me.
And what programs do you offer?
So I work one-on-one, and I run a group coaching program for women called Limitless, which is super fun, super awesome. And then I also do corporate workshops, which is also very fun. Yeah. Ooh. It's cool to bring these conversations to teams of people in corporate, because then they just have this base level knowledge together, and it just totally changes how they work with each other, what they feel comfortable saying to each other, how they can show up differently at work. It's cool.
Okay, your website is gorgeous. I'm on it right now, by the way.
Oh, thank you.
Also, can we party about corporate workshops? Because that's my dream currently. Oh my God. Hype calls. Girl, your website is her website is so good. The colors, it's like a muted kind of like desert color, and it's like stupid.
It's grounding.
It's so grounding. Like she has change your life, get inspired, have fun, hype calls. Like Girl, yes. Y'all go to her website, alexakmartin.com. Oh my God, cocktails and conversation.
Yes, I'm hosting an event
You're
in
so
New
cool.
York, cocktails and conversation, to have meaningful conversation, like no more small talk, no more. Do you guys ever go out with friends and like you spend $75 or $50 or $20, whatever it may be on dinner?
Your friends are expensive, girl.
Yes. New York is expensive. And then you come home and you're like, I wish I had just stayed home. That sucked. So we're putting an end to that. We're having a really good night with meaningful conversation.
You're a bad bitch.
Thank you. You
I
are too.
I want to be you when I grow up. This is so cool. Oh, you're doing it with Danielle. Yeah, I was just gonna say, I hope you're doing it with her because she's in New York.
Yeah.
Oh my God, it's soon. It's like next month.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll come to New York. I want to go.
Do it.
It's not that far. It's like I don't know how far. 5-6 hours. It's not super far from me. I may have lied. It may be like 7, but I feel like it's 5. That may not be true. I don't know. Oh my God, I love this.
Thank you.
Okay, y'all go to her freaking website. Seriously, it's amazing.
Oh, that's so nice.
And you're blogging. Oh my God. I'm obsessed.
Yes, read the blog. That is, I love
These are
writing.
legit. These are legit. Okay, you're phenomenal. So tell us again where to find you, and then tell us one thing you want people to remember if they heard nothing else from this episode.
Oh, wow. You should have warned me of this question.
Nope. Surprise.
What? Okay. I'm like, what? All right, I have something. You can follow me on Instagram at Alexa Kmart. You can go to my website, alexakmartin.com. And the one thing that I want people to remember is if you find yourself in endless complaining, in victim culture, just know that you are worthy of more and you are capable of making change. You just got to start somewhere.
Yes. Okay. Y'all go do things. Like go do things. If you need support, get out Alexa.
Yeah,
She's like,
DM me.
Again, seriously.
I'm super friendly, super open. Message me. I will answer you. We can be friends.
We can be friends.
We can be.
You're
We
so
can
funny.
be Instagram friends.
We can be friends. All right. Go do things, podcast fam. Love you. Be good. Be good. Do good. Do good. Do fun. Whatever.
Thank you for having me.
Dude, thank you. This was so good. We're gonna party again. But now I have to stop the recording. So bye, fam.